Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today we've got a clean with me video, but I wanted to show you, I'm in the process of making lunch, and I thought I would show you quickly what I'm making for lunch. I sauteed up a bunch of veggies. This is 3 bell peppers, 1 red onion, and 1 like little 8-ounce thing of mushrooms chopped up. And then anytime I'm cooking, I try to always have the mindset of how can I add more nutrition to this meal. So I threw in some greens as well, just some spring greens that I had sitting in the fridge. That way we use them up before they go bad, and adds a nice bit of color to these veggies. I seasoned these veggies with tahini, cumin, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and I also threw some fresh garlic in there, so they're super flavorful. Then I have some rice that's almost done cooking. I'm gonna season that with some fresh lime juice as well as cilantro, and then like salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, that kind of thing. Pro tip with limes or lemons, before you squeeze them, roll them on the counter, and then you can even stick them in the microwave or just let them sit out for a little while so that they become like room temperature or a little bit warmer. You're gonna get way more juice out of them than you will when they're cold straight out of the fridge. So I have this lemon half, or lime half, that has been sitting in my fridge. It's pretty juicy because I rolled it before I sliced this one in half, but I'm gonna stick it in the microwave for just a few seconds to warm it up, and I'll get like way more juice out of it. Also with your cilantro, the stems have just as much flavor as the leaves, so don't just use up the leaves and then throw the stems out. You can use the whole thing. It all tastes the same, all tastes delicious. And don't be afraid to use a lot of your herbs and spices. I think a lot of people hesitate from buying fresh herbs because they don't use them all up before they go bad, but just use a ton of them. They're so good for you. They add so many great nutrients and they add so much great flavor. So don't be afraid to use a lot of whatever herbs and spices that you buy. Also, if you have fresh herbs that are on their way out, throw them in your blender with some lemon juice and olive oil and some salt, pepper, garlic powder, that kind of thing, and it makes a delicious like green goddess kind of dressing too. So I'm making wraps today with these ingredients. I'm using these lavish wraps from the brand Atoria's. This, if you can get your hands on these, they're so good. They taste delicious, but then the ingredients are phenomenal. All like whole food ingredients, no like crappy oils like safflower oil or sunflower oil, those oils that just aren't that good for you. It's all really, really good stuff. And then for kind of a creaminess, I'm gonna add some avocado to each of these, and then in the interest of adding more nutrition to our meal, we're gonna add some of these microgreens as well. So we'll just wrap these babies up and that'll be our lunch for the day. Let me know if you wanna see more of like the food that I make on a regular basis. I could do like what I eat in a day videos, or like a week of meals, or kind of like let me know what you would like to see, whether it would be like a week of dinners or a week of lunches, or more like just casual what I eat in a day kind of stuff. I'd be happy to film that kind of stuff if that's something that you're interested in. I try to eat really healthy, but also like in a way that's not crazy expensive and not like unattainable, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'd be happy to share more of that with you if you'd be interested in the future.
You're the color in the lines type. Never shake things up kind. Don't speak your own line. I know you. I'm
starting out today's cleaning by just cleaning up from lunch and packing away the leftovers. I like to make extras of everything that I'm cooking so that I have some leftovers. That way I don't have to cook every single meal of every single day. And I usually pack the leftovers separately. Like I'll pack the rice separate from the veggies and that kind of thing, just so I have some more options when it comes to re-eating the leftovers. I can make them into a variety of different things because I'm not tied down to having everything already mixed together, if that makes sense. So I could use the veggies for something different than the rice or whatever, that kind of thing. Sometimes I'll also just chop up extra veggies when I'm chopping up veggies for a meal, but I won't actually cook them. But then I at least have some veggies prepped and I can use them in a different recipe, season them differently, that kind of thing. But anything I can do to kind of help myself out and have some extra food on hand, I find so helpful, and it makes it a lot easier to like cook on a daily basis, even on those days when you're kind of sick of being in the kitchen. Because my dining chairs are fabric, I like to use my chom chom roller to clean them. It does a great job of picking up little crumbs and lint, and even somehow dog fur ends up on these chairs too. So it picks up all of that really well and leaves them looking nice and clean. As always, the link to the chom chom roller will be in the description box below if you haven't picked one up for yourself yet. Highly recommend.
I think it's funny. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop your bubble, pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop your bubble, pop your bubble. You think you can control me, but you don't really know me. So I'm just here to pop your bubble, pop your bubble, pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble. I'm just here to pop your bubble. I'm just gonna pop your bubble, baby. You think you can control me, but you don't.
It is so satisfying to see those carpet lines under the table like that. I don't move my chairs every single time that I vacuum around my dining table because I vacuum like every other day, and that's just kind of, I don't know, it's too much. But man, every time I do move them, I'm like, wow, this looks so much better, and things obviously get cleaner that way too. So I really probably should just do it every time I vacuum, but sometimes I'm just not in the mood.
Hey, what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all. Hey, what's your story? A kick-ass mom and 40 under 40.
Once again, I'm using my trusty chom chom roller on the sofa. I think I've had this thing since close to the beginning of my YouTube channel. I remember I made a video the first time I used this chom chom roller. So it has lasted me a good year so far, and it's still in phenomenal condition and works great, and I use it literally every single day, like multiple times a day, because my dogs live on this couch, and every time I go to sit down on the couch, I'm like, ooh, I have to chom chom roll this because there's so much fur. So anyway, shameless plug once again, if you don't have a chom chom roller, the link is in my bio. I really appreciate it when you shop my links. I do get a little bit of a commission anytime that you purchase through one of the links that's in the description box below. So I really, really appreciate it if you're going to purchase a chom chom roller if you do it through my link. I also had a couple of loads of laundry I wanted to get done today, so I'm starting that now. I actually had a load in the dryer too that was ready to be folded, so I'll fold that here in a second. But I'm starting out with my bed sheets, and then we'll fold this load of clean laundry. Comment down below and let me know, do you love laundry? Do you hate it? What are your feelings? I feel like some people hate laundry. It's like their least favorite task in the world, and other people seem to not really mind it and actually find it relaxing. I personally find it kind of relaxing. A lot of times in the evenings, I will sit down with either a cup of tea or a glass of wine and fold my laundry while watching a good show, and I find it really like relaxing and therapeutic. But sometimes I just have a hard time like getting myself to sit down to do it. But once I get started, I actually like it. So I don't know if you guys can relate to that, or let me know how you feel about doing your laundry. And then I had to show you my sweet little sleeping puppy who was keeping me company while I folded laundry today.
We got no time to waste. Everybody say feel.
After putting away my laundry, I moved on to my bedroom, and I finally remembered to dust my ceiling fan. I never want to dust my ceiling fan when I have clean sheets on the bed because it always makes such a mess because all that dust drops down. But thankfully I was planning on washing my comforter today, and anytime I'm going to wash my comforter or wash my sheets, I try to remember to dust my ceiling fan beforehand. Like I said, I always forget, but I was proud of myself. I remembered today. So here's your reminder: before you change your sheets, if you have a ceiling fan above your bed, dust everything off onto your dirty sheets and then take them off the bed and wash them. It is officially summer, which means it's officially watermelon season. I love watermelons so much, so I was really excited to find one at the store. So I am just slicing it up. I am using this method. I don't know what you call it. I've cut off the top and the bottom so that it'll lay flat. I think it's such a convenient way to slice up a watermelon if you're not going to do like wedges where you keep the rind on. So I just go around and slice all of the rind off, and then it makes it really easy to slice it into little pieces, as you can see here.
Ain't nobody gotta do for me what I do when I do it so beautifully. All I gotta stay is true to me. Yep, stay winning is a mood to me. Hey, ain't nobody gotta do for me. Yep, what I do when I do it so beautifully. All I gotta stay is true.
I had kind of forgotten how much watermelon is in a watermelon. I know that sounds dumb, but I was shocked by how many big containers I filled up with just slices of watermelon. But we did go through it really quick. Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. I'm going to give you a few tips to pick a good watermelon in case you don't already know. If you do, you can just zone out and just enjoy the music in the background. But you want to make sure that it has a, what do they call it? Like a little patch from where it sat on the ground. So the darker and like more yellowy the little patch is on the watermelon, the sweeter your watermelon's going to be. And then of course, I think the thing that most people know about a watermelon is you want one that sounds hollow when you knock on it. That means it is nice and ripe and juicy, and it will be delicious. Trying a new recipe for dinner tonight. It is literally the recipe from the back of this bag of lentils that I bought. It is red lentil dal, so it's an Indian recipe. I have never had Indian food that I enjoyed, so this may not be the best idea. But the reason why I've never had Indian food that I enjoyed is because every time I eat Indian food, like at an Indian restaurant, it is, number one, so spicy, I feel like my mouth is going to literally fall off of my face. And number two, it has like fennel and star anise and those flavors that are like kind of licoricey, and I don't like that. This recipe, well, it calls for a jalapeno, but I'm not going to use it, and it doesn't have any of the licorice flavors, so I think there's a chance I might like it. I'll put the recipe in the description box below. I'm going to cut the recipe in half because, like I said, I don't know if we're going to like it, and it makes the full recipe serve 6, and I don't want to have a bunch of leftovers of something we may or may not like. So this recipe calls for 2 cups of lentils. Like I said, I cut it in half, so I just did 1 cup of lentils. And then it didn't call for any vegetables, so I just decided to add my own peppers in. Since it called for a serrano pepper, I thought some bell peppers would probably fit the flavor profile of this dish. And like I said, I did not put the bell pepper or the jalapeno or the serrano pepper. It called for either or. I didn't put that in at all because I am the biggest baby when it comes to spicy food, and I didn't want this to be spicy. So I just put some calm, mild bell pepper in there. And then the recipe called for 1 whole onion for the whole dish, but like I said, I'm halving the dish and I ended up putting the whole onion in, and I'm really glad I did. I feel like it needed more onion and more vegetables in general. So if you're gonna make the whole amount, I would double the onion, and I would also add in some extra bell peppers or some kind of veggie if I were you. Okay, and then I'm chatting away and I'm losing track of what I'm doing. I'm heating up some coconut oil on the skillet for the veggies, and then I also have some rice going, as you can see in the background, just according to package instructions. And then the recipe called for cumin seeds and a cinnamon stick. I did not have either. I just used some ground cumin and some ground cinnamon. I kind of guesstimated on the amounts there, and then I also threw in the turmeric that it called for and the salt. I thought it was interesting that it had you season like the oil before you put the veggies in. I've never done it that way before, so that's a fun new technique. Then I'm just throwing the veggies in to let them cook while the rice and the lentils cook as well. In hindsight, I probably started the veggies a little bit too early because I ended up just having to sit them there on like a low temperature just to keep them warm while I waited for the lentils and the rice to finish cooking, but that's okay. Now we're using my lemon trick again, rolling it on the counter to get it nice and juicy. The lentils were done. I actually overcooked the lentils, so they became like a mash. Whoops, it's been a long time since I cooked lentils and I kind of forgot how to do it, but it still tasted delicious, honestly. I wasn't really mad about it. I'm just seasoning the rice with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder, and then I decided to put some craisins in there. I love rice with currants in it, and I feel like that's really common in Indian food, and craisins were the closest things I had to currants, and it was absolutely delicious. I highly recommend this recipe. I'll have it linked in the description box below. So now I'm just cleaning up from dinner. I'm putting all the leftovers away, which, by the way, it was great as leftovers too. And then lastly on this night, I just cleaned up my kitchen and put my clean comforter back on my bed. And that was the end of today's clean with me. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it gave you lots of motivation. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye.
You're taking me back to better days.